Welcome. I am so glad you've taken a moment to tune into today's episode on mindfulness, to gain control of your inner storyteller during these tumultuous times. I'm your host, Park Howell, and I want to share with you the practice of meditation and the person who brought it to me that has been the single most powerful daily exercise I've been doing to cope with this crisis. Right now on the Business of Story.
I thought it was just a stupid picture of a pig in the ocean. But after hearing that story, I had to have it. Now I wasn't just buying a picture. I was buying a story. Story literally made the picture worth more money to me.
That's what businesses are about. People buy brands. People buy stories much more than anything else.
I work with a lot of big enterprise companies, but let's just say I always tell folks, drop the PowerPoint, close your laptops, start with your story.
If you want people to get engaged and you want people to act, you have to tell them an emotionally powerful story. That's with great characters, it's with uncertain outcomes, and it's with high stakes and drama.
All business strategy is a story.
Before I introduce you to Lynne Goldberg, the co-founder of Breethe, a leading meditation app that has been instrumental in the well-being of people around the globe, I want to focus your attention on our show sponsor, Sendible. Sendible is the social media storytelling platform we use at the Business of Story, and at the risk of sounding like a totally gratuitous tie-in to today's topic, I've got to tell you that Sendible is so intuitive to use that it makes our social media management one less distraction in our chaotic world, the same place you're probably experiencing right now. And now, to take a bit of the stress out of your life, Gavin Hammer and his Sendible team are providing their starter plan to you for free. That'll clear some space in your mind, not to mention your budget. Use Sendible to easily source content from your clients and collaborate closely with them to create a social media strategy built on proven storytelling principles. You can reliably plan and schedule content to be automatically published to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and more. Plus, through Sendible's in-depth reporting and analytics, you can proudly demonstrate to your clients the impact that your storytelling is having on their audience growth and reach. Over 3,000 digital ad agencies around the world already use Sendible for a decided advantage over their competition to help their own brands and their clients rise above the cacophony of communication we all compete in today. So while Sendible is offering you the starter plan for free, I encourage you, if you have the wherewithal, to purchase your Sendible Traction Plan. As a valued listener of the Business of Story, you'll save 30% off the Traction Plan when you visit sendible.com/park30. Your subscription will support the good people at Sendible so that they can help support those who need a hand during these trying times. If you can't afford it, totally understand. So just visit sendible.com/COVID-19 and do it before July 1st, 2020, and you can start your starter plan today. Sendible will get you centered on your online storytelling. To me, they're the Shavasana of social media. And now, I am so excited, or should I say at peace, to introduce you to Lynne Goldberg, author of Get Balanced, Get Blissed, Nourishment for Body, Mind, and Soul, and co-founder of the 5-year-old meditation app that I rely on several days called Breethe. That's Breethe. Lynne today is going to share with you her daunting backstory when, as a type AAA entrepreneur and vice president of a retail operation, her entire world, as she knew it, came tumbling down around her. To cope, she found meditation, which in turn has found her to help hundreds of thousands of people around the world quiet their inner critic, reclaim their optimistic storyteller, and find peace of mind and their true purpose in life. Lynne was named one of the top meditation teachers in North America by Forbes magazine. InStyle magazine said Breethe is so simple, even my 10-year-old can do it. She has been featured in a mind-spinning array of media, including Time Magazine, Huffington Post, Reader's Digest, ABC, NBC, NPR, People Magazine, Self Magazine, MSNBC, Cosmopolitan, Women's Day, and a whole lot more. She collaborates with psychologists, doctors, social workers, teachers, as well as business people while she speaks, coaches, and runs international retreats. But given that those in-person events are shut down for the moment, we are fortunate to have Lynne with us today. She'll share with you her 5 essential tools to help you find balance and peace during the madness of coronavirus. Tools you can use long after this pandemic is over. And you'll be treated to her favorite 10-minute meditation at the end of the show. So stop what you're doing, shut down your multitasking, settle in, take a deep breath or 10, and relax with Lynne Goldberg on this especially mindful edition of the Business of Story. Lynne, welcome to the Business of Story.
It's so nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to have you here too. You entered my life at the very beginning of this year when I went on a search for a meditation app. I used to meditate, several years ago, and I just completely got out of the habit of it. And for whatever reason, 2020 brought up some anxiety in me. I was excited about the new decade, but I don't know what the heck was going on. And I decided that was the perfect time to start doing my meditation again, knowing I didn't have the strength to do it myself, just to sit in a room and try to calm my out of control brain. So I went looking for an app, and I don't know where I came across Breethe. I have no idea. And I think I listened to an example or a test or you gave a freebie out, and I listened to it. I go, wow, this is really powerful. Subscribed, and every day now I've been using it long before the COVID crisis broke. But boy, am I glad I did, because it took me about a month to really get into the habit of it and start feeling the benefits of it. And now it's been amazing. So I reached out to you, and I just want to thank you for taking the time to come on the show and tell us about your app and meditation and how we can all be a bit more mindful to lead to our help with our sanity, help with our health, especially as we're going through the most chaotic time in probably all of our lives at this point. So thanks for being here.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
So,
meditation was my life jacket, that's for sure. So I'm glad to hear that it helped you.
yeah. So can you give us a bit of your backstory? How did you get into this? I know you're a mindfulness coach, and that might be understating it. You can tell a little bit more about what you do in the coaching side, but where and how did you come about creating the Breethe app?
So I got into meditation when my whole life fell apart, and I found it to be really useful. I was pregnant with twin girls. My mom had been diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. My marriage broke up, and I lost my job. So it was the perfect storm of just a nightmare.
Wow. How old were you then?
It's about 25 years ago.
About 25 years ago. And leading up to that point, did you feel like you kind of had it working for you going, and it just kind of all blew up?
Yeah, exactly. It was really one of the first times that I had had any sort of tragedy in my life. And then, of course, it was every single identity that I had. My mom ended up dying, so I was no longer a daughter. I wasn't a mother. I wasn't a wife. I didn't have my identity as being this business person. And it was just like, well, if I'm not these things, who am I? So what happened with meditation was that it really showed me that I was way bigger than all of those titles and names that I had given myself, and it put my life back together.
What were you doing? Were you in business prior to this? I mean, did you have a career going and you were attached to that as well?
Yeah, I was vice president of a retail chain, and I had a career. And it was just one of those things that was unfortunate at the time and ended up being my greatest blessing looking back. So, it's funny how things work out that way.
Yeah, it is, the disruptions in life like we are all experiencing right now, and you just had them hit you one, two, three, it sounds like, over a very short amount of time. So a complete turning point. Before that, before you went through all of that loss in your life, were you big into mindfulness and meditation and yoga and that kind of thing? Was it always a part of you?
No, I was probably the anti-meditator.
Is that right?
Yeah, I had no idea. It was one of those things that I had felt was like for other people, and I had a lot of like stigmatization at the time. Don't forget, 25 years ago, it wasn't something that people did.
Hmm.
So it was, to me, one of those things that was really woo-woo and out there. And when my mom had been diagnosed with her colon cancer, we're in Montreal, and McGill has a pretty advanced mindfulness program, and they actually recommended that she try mindfulness. At the time, I remember I had been going through infertility, so I figured, okay, I'll try it. And so that's how I sort of got into it. And then, of course, when my whole life blew up, it was the thing that I relied on most heavily.
And did you feel like after life had crumbled down around you, was it obvious that that was going to be your next direction, or did you have to go do some soul searching before you found it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I ended up really coming into meditation very slowly and gradually. So it wasn't something that I sort of decided, oh, hey, I'm going to go do this. It was, I at the time, I was a mom of two kids. So my husband and I, fast forward, got back together, adopted a couple of children, ended up getting divorced. And then I ended up needing to support my family. So I had skills that paid bills, and I used those, and that was really helpful. And at the same time that I was doing that, I was also taking courses and learning and developing the meditation side of things for myself. So it was sort of at the same time. And then I had become a teacher, not expecting to teach, but more just to deepen my own practice. And then people started asking me to help them. And so I came to it quite gradually.
So it sounds like it was something that was natural for you once you learned it and started working with it and you became comfortable. And then you were able to combine your business experience from being a VP of retail chain to now start this next chapter in your life of coaching mindfulness.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it was also, I had wanted to get my kids to meditate because, of course, like any person, any human, we all have stuff that comes up, and it's a great life skill. And I knew how helpful it had been for me. So I wanted my kids to learn it. And I ended up teaching teachers because they wouldn't learn it from me. They were very resistant to anything that their mother told them to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up asking teachers what they needed, and they were the ones that basically said, we need an app. We need something that we could do when you're not here so that we have a take-home practice. And that's really how it started.
And how long ago was it that you launched Breethe?
We've been around for 5 years now.
5 years.
Yeah.
Well, when I downloaded it, I first started using it to go to sleep. And I really like your hypnotherapy. And
Yeah.
I can't think of his name right off the top of my head.
Glenn Harold, he's
Yes.
awesome. Yes.
Unbelievable. And I love the fact that he says, now you shouldn't be driving a car while listening to this.
He's pretty powerful. Yeah.
That always cracks me up. But we will literally take my iPhone, turn on the app, put it between my wife and I, and we both use it to help us go to sleep. And we have been sleeping so much better by using this. It's been really, really powerful. But I can tell you, when I first got it, my favorite series that you did that I've now gone through several times is that simple 7 days of feeling happier meditation.
Yeah.
And I get up in the morning. My routine is I wake up. I'm usually up before my wife, go out, get a glass of water, and I sit in my den and I put in my earbuds and I listen to that 20-minute meditation. And the first few weeks, I didn't really feel much. I was like, yeah, okay, that was nice. Okay, whatever. And then it seemed like it had this compounding effect. And I started this at the beginning of January, and by February, I could definitely tell the difference. I was just not as stressed out or psyched out, or I don't know what it was. I'm such a type AAA that it slowed me down. So is that the way meditation works? Is it like a compounding effect? And do people drop out early because they don't feel that they're getting a benefit from it early on?
It's funny that you asked that. We have a video on our site that says, "How can I tell if it's working?" And it's because it really creeps up on you really slowly. And usually it's the people around you that notice it's working before you notice. So a lot of people say, "Oh, my husband or my wife really says I don't lose it as much," or people report that they're sleeping better, or maybe they didn't get so annoyed when someone cut them off in traffic, or whatever it is. But it's funny. It's like the analogy I give is that it's like looking in the mirror every single day. You're not going to really notice any differences. Obviously, if there's a big difference, you'll notice. But over time, when you look back, let's say a year later, and you look at a picture of yourself, you'll go, "Oh, that's a difference," right?
Mm-hmm.
And with meditation, it's kind of the same thing. We just don't notice, and then it, like you said, it just creeps up on you.
Well, and then you've recently launched this new program. I haven't listened to it yet, but it's the Overcoming Coronavirus Anxiety.
Yeah, we've made that available free to anybody because right now people are really suffering, and we want to help as many people as we can. And we don't want people who are sitting with financial issues or what have you to have any concerns. So we've launched a collection of different stuff from anxiety, coronavirus anxiety, to self-care during this crisis, which helps boost immune systems. We've done, I don't know, My Family's Driving Me Nuts.
Right, yep.
Which I've been hearing from lots of people. So, and then obviously financial concerns, and how to live with the uncertainty.
Yeah, and I notice in your meditations that they are similar in that it feels like they are based on a framework that apparently you have developed that seems to really work, and it's just a matter of how you then deliver that content or get your subjects, your customers, your meditators in a frame of mind on a particular subject. Do I have that right?
Well, I think that the subjects are universal subjects. Am I understanding you? So I think what happens is a lot of people will come in with a specific issue, and they want to address that issue, but they also are going to use universal principles that are going to help them regardless. So we talk about the specifics of the issue, but then we also go through the basic principles that will help you deal with any life situation. So it's almost like you can focus on how to be happier, like that series that you did, but those skills develop over time. So the more series you do, the better you get at using those skills and applying them towards almost anything that happens in your life.
And are you literally reprogramming your brain or connecting different synapses to maybe disconnect some of those negative ones, or disconnect the ones that have you in a habit of worrying about tomorrow or fretting about the past and not being present, and you rewire them?
Yeah, so what we're training you to do exactly is to be present. And the more often you come back to the object of your attention while you're practicing, which is really what you're doing, it's just like playing piano scales, right? You just catch yourself over and over and over again, the better off you get at being present and noticing when you're not. And obviously, when you're not present, you're in the past or the future. And usually that's, the ruminating thoughts about what you should have done, could have done, or wanted to do, or worrying about what's happening tomorrow. And the more you practice, often expresses neurons that wire together fire together. So that's what we do.
We had a little breakup right there when you said that, a little Wi-Fi breakup. But you said the more you practice, I think, is to read between the lines. Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
neurons that fire together wire together.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I
So,
love that.
yeah,
Neurons that fire together, wire together. And what you are doing, I guess, in meditation is exciting those neurons that you want to fire and to connect.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like a muscle that just you build over time.
That was the thing that I learned, I think, probably now being halfway into February when I really started feeling the difference in re-listening to some of your meditations is the biggest help I got was to be able to shed the past and not worry about tomorrow. Now, I still do that because really, what are you doing? You are helping us to clear out the bad stories we're telling ourselves. I mean,
Mm.
the way I think about it is we, being a negative bias individual, Homo sapiens typically are, that we
Mhm.
tend to tell ourselves a lot of negative stories, the vast majority of which never are going to happen to us. But we can't see that. And it feels like to me, with your meditation program, it's almost like putting on blinders, being able to say, yep, no, I know that worry about tomorrow is about ready to sneak up on me, but I see it coming and I'm just going to bat it away. And then, or, that regret of yesterday, I see that coming. That would normally consume me. I'm going to bat it away and let it go. Is there like a core principle in how you create these meditations that is one of the primary focuses to get someone to be right in the moment right now?
So you hit the nail on the head. I mean, that is it in a nutshell, is when you are present, you're not going to pay attention. And we all do it. We all have a filter that is how we tend to see the world. And depending on where you were raised and the culture that you were raised in and the way your parents were with you and, all of that influences how you see the world. And I call it, our thoughts are basically, I call it our fake news, because that's what we have. We have all these stories that are just not actually what's happening. And so when we start to just pay attention without the filter, that's how you truly, truly become free, because then you're not being influenced by all those past stories or all of the baggage that you brought to the, whether it's your relationship or what have you. It changes your relationship to yourself, most importantly.
And so what do you tell listeners who might be sitting out there saying, oh yeah, that's all well and good, but I now don't have a job because of
Right.
COVID-19. And this $1,200 that the government's going to send me is going to last me exactly 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And what am I, how long is this going to be? The uncertainty is completely overwhelming to a lot of folks, even to
Yes.
ourselves sometimes.
Yes.
What do you say to that when they're like, I can't believe meditation would actually help me cope with that?
It's a beautiful question, really, truly beautiful, because the truth of the matter is what meditation helps us do isn't necessarily fix a problem, but it gives us a new way of understanding the problem. So being uncertain about something is one of the most difficult things in the world, right? For a human being to not know is horribly painful. It just seems truly scary. And we like to have certainty so that we have this illusion that we have some control, because of course not feeling like we have control is terrifying. But our practice teaches us that that's an illusion anyway. We have no control. You could walk off the curb tomorrow and get hit by a car, God forbid, but we like to feel that we have this element of control, and it just doesn't exist. And so what we learn to do is to enjoy what we do have. So there's a great Zen story. If you give me a minute, I'll tell it.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
living in the moment right now, Lynn. So you got all the time you like.
That's cool. So there's this guy, and he's being chased by a tiger, and he doesn't know what to do, because as he's running as fast as he can, the tiger is right behind him. There's this cliff, and he either gets eaten by the tiger or he jumps off the cliff. So he jumps off the cliff and he falls and he manages to grab onto this branch, and he's holding onto the branch for dear life. And there's an apple on the branch. And he looks up and there's this tiger above him. He looks down, there's like a chasm, he's falling to his death. The question is, what does he do? And of course, he eats the apple because that's what's happening in the present moment. So that's all you can do. And our practice helps us to just do that, to just be there for whatever it is. So right now, your kid might be having their birthday and you're alive and you're able to experience it with them. And you have, you're healthy in this moment. And right now, that's what you know. And you just enjoy whatever you can do. So how can you live for the moment right this second? And that's the practice.
Interesting. Now, you've got my brain completely swimming because I want to know what happened after he ate the apple.
Yeah, but of course, that's the future.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to be right there and enjoy that red delicious while you're at it.
That's what you have. And, I had that experience when my mom was dying. I was going through all that infertility. And I remember thinking, I'll be happy when I adopt my children, or when I get pregnant, or when I, all the whens in the future. When this happens, then I'll be okay. But of course, I didn't know what was going to happen. And in the end, my mom died. I lost the twins. And the truth was, what I did have in that moment was the ability to travel because I was free, because I didn't have a job. And, I had all this available time. And rather than appreciating what I did have, I looked at what was missing. And it's human nature. That's what we do, right? So the idea that somehow we can control what's happening is just an illusion. And the idea that not enjoying what we have in this moment is just a shame, because that's all we know. That's the only thing that we actually do have. So if you have time off and you're getting a check, that's this moment. And what will happen in the future, none of us know.
Do you, after all this training, 25 years of meditation, mindfulness, and coaching, do you still catch yourself coming unglued, all of a sudden, stressing about tomorrow and have to actually reel yourself back in? Or have you been doing this for so long that you just find a general peace and calm in your life no matter what shows up?
So it's really interesting because it's a matter of degree, right? So in the past, I suffered from terrible, terrible anxiety, and I didn't sleep, and I had an upset stomach all the time, and I really, truly suffered. And I don't suffer anymore.
Can I ask you a personal question? What do you think was the cause of your terrible anxiety?
I think that was just the way I had been taught to deal with stuff. I didn't have coping tools. I didn't learn, that there was better ways. So I was a type A, stressed out, businesswoman, and I was running all over the place. And that's the only way I knew. And I didn't know that I didn't have to worry about so many of the things that I worried about. So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, was it after then your, life sort of got torn down around you? Was that was your wake-up call you had mentioned, but did you have an aha moment at that time that said, you know what, I have been dealing with anxiety in the complete wrong way? Or was it something more like, this anxiety is going to kill me if I don't do something about it?
It was more like, oh, isn't this interesting? I don't feel so anxious anymore. And I sleep now. And it was something that happened over time. So, initially I would meditate, and I call it my emergency meditations, which is like I would wake up at 3 a.m. and I would be like plea bargaining. And then finally I would, go back to sleep, because I would meditate myself to sleep, which of course is not the way you're meant to meditate. And slowly, I built up practice, and then it became my way of living. And once that happened, then I no longer had a tough time going to sleep. I just fell asleep. So I wouldn't say it was a very slow process, but it definitely ended up becoming my way of life.
And now during the day, do you meditate 2 or 3 times, even these these short meditations that you have? Like I have one on finding your focus that I listened to before this episode. And 9 minutes, and it's just a way to just kind of calm you down and get you super focused. And it's almost like you kind of wake up out of a little dream. I mean, do you do that every day?
So my practice is pretty consistent. I wake up every day. Um, I meditate first thing when I wake up. So we advise people that you do it twice a day. First time in the morning, so we call it Rise P Meditate, or RPM, and then after work raw, so right after work. And during the day, I notice how I'm feeling, and if I feel like I need a little pick me up, I'll do that too. And then I have a yoga practice. So I mean, I feel like by the time I've gotten my breakfast in, which is, let's say I get up at 6 and I do this until 7:30, and then that's my day, and I feel great as I start my day.
Oh, cool. You said late after work walk. Did I
Yeah.
hear that right?
Sorry, I apologize. Raw, right after work.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yes. Yeah.
So just to kind of calm you down, settle you into the evening, that sort of thing, is kind of get you reframe or get your brain back on track of just relaxing a little bit.
Exactly. I mean, I used to come home and maybe pour myself a glass of wine, and it was like the bookend to my day. And a new habit for myself is actually, or not new, but the way that I developed that habit was to come home and meditate instead.
Hmm. Replacing the wine with little meditation. There you go. You've got a book out, Get Balanced, Get Blissed, Nourishment for Body, Mind, and Soul. And I think in it, I couldn't find it on your website. I needed to do a little bit more digging, but you have these 5 essential tools.
Mm.
Do we have time here to just cover what those are real quickly for our listeners to think about? Maybe they could actually apply a couple of them in their lives.
Yeah, so really the idea, and it's really applicable to right now too, is that we're all interconnected, and we need all the different pieces of ourselves to really work so that we're okay. And we forget that we're interconnected. We forget that we are attached to everybody, but it's become super clear to all of us right now because we're all interdependent for our health, and our health is even interdependent for our wealth. So it's never been more visceral for any of us to recognize that fact. Um, and so the question is, how do you balance all of your own needs with the needs of the society that you live in? And so if your environment isn't clean and it's polluted, then it's going to make you sick, and that's just a fact. And if you're in a toxic environment, whether it's an office that's toxic because of the people in it, or it's the pollution in the air that you're living in, or the fact that the food that you're eating or the water that you're drinking isn't safe, that's going to impact your well-being. So it's really to be aware of the things that impact your well-being, the food that you put into your body, um, the relationships that you have, how your energy responds to the people that you're with, and then of course the idea that we're all in this together.
And so the 5 essential tools kind of speak to those. What are the 5 tools?
So so one of them is your rest and relaxation, or your ability to calm your stress, the stress in your life, which is meditation. The food that you put into your body, the environment that you live in, the relationships that you have, and your sense of purpose, or doing something bigger than yourself. The idea that, and this is really applicable for right now, actually, when you're in your own little bubble, taking care of me, you worry about stuff that's happening in the past or the future. But interestingly, you can activate the part of your brain that is your parasympathetic system or your rest and relax system by reaching out to other people. And it takes you out of that sense of I'm in this alone and makes you feel like you're in it with other people and actually gives you greater life satisfaction.
I've never thought about it that way. So when you are totally focused on yourself, which, in this day, with what we're all going through right now, it's very natural for the human being to say, I've got to figure out my survival here first and foremost and become very focused, and then kind of get into this acceptance mode and then start helping others. But what you're saying is when you get so focused on yourself, it tends to make you now think of the past, regrets from the past and worries about the future, where when you start looking at your bigger purpose and helping people out there, you are now more focused on the present and how you can help them. Do I have that right?
Well, I'm not sure that it would be, okay, I'm going to put it to you in another way.
Okay.
If everyone went out and bought their toilet paper, enough for what they needed themselves, then there wouldn't have been a run on toilet paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we would have each been taking care of our own need, because you need to make sure that you put on your own, your own life jacket first. You need to put, the mask on the whatever cliche we want to use, but
Right.
You definitely have to make sure that you are okay, because you can't help someone else if you're not. So you make sure that you have your toilet paper, but then you also make sure that your neighbor has toilet paper. And if you are thinking like that, then it's the greater good. Society is going to benefit. We're all going to be okay because we're all taking care of one another. It falls apart when, you start to stockpile. You take more than you need and you don't have the rest of the society that you live in your mind. So, and I'm not saying this as a judgment call. I'm saying it as as the benefit of the organism survives when we, like, this is Charles Darwin, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone always thought Charles Darwin was survival of the fittest, but it's actually survival of the kindest, because we need each other in order to make sure that our humanity and our race survives. Tend and befriend means that your neighbor can go out and hunt and get the lion and bring it back and share it with the tribe. If you didn't catch the lion one day and your neighbor did, and you didn't share last week, then he's not going to next week, and that's how we thrived.
Survival of the kindest.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So what do you say, or what would you coach, I guess, if we've got a listener here that has never done meditation? How do you take a new person into it so that they have the patience to go through it long enough to start feeling the benefits?
That's a great question. So you really have to remember why it is you're doing it. And, usually there's a pain point. Something happened where you're either not sleeping or your wife is fed up and sick and tired of, the way you're acting, or whatever it is. If you can come back to what that reason is that you're getting started in the first place, then you're going to remember why it is super important for you to keep this up. And what I tell people to do is to put little Post-it notes all over their on their computer and on their mirror in their bathroom, and just reminding themselves of what it is that they're trying to accomplish, and then just do it. And so we have on the app, we have a timer that actually you can set your alarm to go off and remind you to meditate first thing in the morning. I personally love the Learn to Meditate program. I don't know if you ever tried that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't even see it. Is it on the app?
Yeah, it's a 12-week program, and it takes you through everything that you would want to know about meditation from beginning to end.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Well, I'm also that guy that never looks at the map and just drives my wife crazy. So I could see why I would blow off the Learn to Meditate program. I just go right into it. All right, I got this. But it's a 12-week program, you said?
Yeah, it's 12 weeks. And if that seems daunting, then we also have daily meditations that are basically for 365 days. So you get everything that you would need as well. So in either way, you're gonna get the basics of what you're looking for. I personally really like the Learn to Meditate program because it starts off at 10 minutes and builds you up to a longer period of time. So it really helps you develop the 20-minute muscle.
So I've already got the 20-minute muscle going. That's like my preferred time. But maybe I should just go ahead and do the Learn to Meditate and just go through that program as well, huh? It might make me even stronger at what I do.
For sure, it will be amazing. And if you've already started, and you've already got a couple months under your belt, I would say you don't need the basic first couple weeks. Go right into week 4.
Okay. I'm looking at it right now. Are
Cool.
you where your body is? Perfect.
Exactly.
I'll do it. I'll add that to my program. The music that you use throughout this, is it all original music? Because it's really beautiful.
Oh, thank you. No, we actually worked with a couple of composers, and one of my partners is actually the music guy. He is a music aficionado, and he really genuinely understands and knows about a lot of it. But we bought the rights to a lot of this music, and it's really a compliment to him because he genuinely understands and knows this music really well.
Well, even when I fire up the app,
Yeah.
you have that kind of underscore playing. And
Yeah.
it now has become like a familiar friend to me. As soon as I hear it, my brain is like, it ignites and goes, oh, Park's going to give me a chance to chill out here a little bit.
That's great.
It's a really nice audio signal that, I'm about to slip into this. So it's very, very well done.
Oh, thank you.
As you can tell, I'm a big fan.
Well, I really appreciate your words. They're really nice. And I'm going to let my partner know too. He'll feel good. Thank you.
Yeah. Last question for you. And I should have asked you before I even started the recording. And if you say no, I can always cut it out. But do you have a sample of your work? You could supply me an audio file and we can put it at the very end of this show, as long as nobody's driving, that they could experience one of your brief meditations right after this show?
Absolutely.
Do you have one that you think, can you describe the one you have in mind that you think most listeners will enjoy and what they may get out of it?
So I'm going to just check. I don't know. My partner has to let me know which one we're offering free. I believe I can do it to Blanket of Love, which would be my total preference for you. So do you want me to just talk about that?
Absolutely.
So what's wonderful about Blanket of Love is it's a really beautiful way to first start with. Most people have a lot of we call it our inner critic, right? The person, that voice in our heads that tells us that we're not enough somehow, we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not thin enough, or rich enough, or all those enoughs. And this meditation really helps you cultivate that self-love that's so important, and then extend it to the rest of the world. So it's really one of my favorite meditations.
It sounds wonderful. How long is it?
I think it's about 10 minutes.
Oh, perfect. We can do that. We can do that.
Unless you want like 2 minutes, something like that.
No. Since Blanket of Love popped in your mind, it sounds like that's the perfect one. If our listeners only want to do it for 2 minutes, they can do it. But I have a hunch that they'll get sucked into it and be able to hang there for 10 minutes.
Great.
Yeah. Well, Lynne, thank you so much. Any last words of wisdom in the mindfulness realm to help people get through this very, very, very tough time we're in right now?
Yeah, that we're not in it alone. It's the only time in the world that every single person in the world is going through the exact same thing as us. And we're all in it together. And I find that that is really reassuring to me because we are part of something bigger than just us. And it's kind of an incredible moment in time. And when we realize that every single person in the world is sharing our same concerns and our same, everybody wants to feel safe and loved and know that they're okay, and we're all in it together.
Wow. Well, thank you, Lynne, for taking the time to be here today. I really appreciate it. I know our audience is going to love this session. And of course, if there's anything I can do for you out there, just let me know, because you have been such a help to me and my family.
Well, thank you so, so much. And really, I'm wishing you only the best. So be safe and healthy, and thank you.
Great. Well, thank you. And I want to thank you, listener, for listening. And this is going to be a really brief close to the show because I want to get to the meditation. If you liked what you heard here and you know, Lynne's wisdom could help someone else in your life, it might be a spouse, could be a business partner, just a family friend that's going through something, then by all means share this episode with them, because besides the meditation, there's just some really great ideas here about how we can all calm our inner critic, swat away those negative stories we're telling ourselves, and be here and live in the moment. It can be just so joyous and so much fun, while all the rest of the distractions in the world you can kind of push to the side. So please feel free to share this episode with them. And remember to join me next week when we'll have another story artist like Lynne here to help you get through this challenging time. And until then, know that the most potent story you'll ever tell is the story you tell yourself. So let's kick off this meditation and see what kind of stories come to mind for you. Thanks for listening.
Please sit comfortably and close your eyes. Your feet resting flat on the floor, hands folded in your lap. Let's begin with some nice clearing breaths, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Breathing in crystal clear oxygen on your in-breath, and breathing out tension like a gray mist on your out-breath. Let's do that a couple more times. A long, slow, deep breath in. A long, slow, deep breath out. You're now breathing through your nostrils. Bring your attention to your feet. Noticing your feet as they touch the floor. Begin to relax your big toes. Relax your next toes, middle toes, next toes, baby toes. Allowing your feet to sink into the floor, completely relaxed. Now your ankles, relaxed. Your calves, relaxed. Your thighs. Feel them melt into the chair like a snowball in the hot sun. Now feel your seat as it makes contact with the chair. Allow your entire lower half of your body to completely relax. Bring your attention to your belly, noticing the rise and fall of your belly. See if you can bring your attention inwards. Your digestive tract, allowing it to relax. Feel your belly. Allow it to soften. Bringing your attention to your fingers, then melt into your lap. Feel the palms of your hands, releasing, relaxing. Your forearms, upper arms, shoulders. Feeling for any tension that you might have stored, just letting it go. Notice if your shoulders are near your ears, and consciously lower them. Feel your jaw. Allow your teeth to separate slightly. Allow your tongue to rest gently on your palate. Notice your forehead, the crown of your head, and allow your entire body, from the soles of your feet to the crown of your head, to completely relax. Now bring your attention to your chest. Feel your breath as your chest rises and falls. And allow your chest to relax. And bringing attention to your heart center. Visualize the color green. And as you breathe in and out of this space, imagine a beautiful green, the color of a grassy meadow. See the soft green grass, almost like a carpet. Imagine yourself as a beautiful baby. Feel yourself in soft, warm pajamas, bundled up safe and warm. Feel the cozy blanket wrapped around you, and imagine the soft green grass supporting you. Now imagine tucking yourself in, sending yourself love and kisses, feeling completely surrounded by love. You're safe and warm. Now imagine yourself as a 10-year-old child. Visualize yourself in your cozy pajamas. Feel the softness of your blanket surrounding you. Kiss yourself goodnight. Feel the love you have for this beautiful, innocent child. Feeling safe, protected, and loved. Now imagine yourself as a teenager. See yourself getting ready for bed. Feel the soft pajamas on your skin, sending yourself love, warmth. Tuck yourself into your cozy bed. Feel that warmth and safety. Send yourself love. Now imagine yourself as you are today. Feel yourself resting on this beautiful green carpet. Imagine yourself getting ready for bed. Feel yourself wrapped in a beautiful, soft cashmere blanket. Feel the softness on your skin. Feel the warmth as it envelops you. And now send yourself love. Feel the love at your heart center. Notice it feels warm or tingly. Feel it expanding from your heart center. Breathe it into your chest. Feel it spreading into your shoulders, your arms. And now see it surrounding you, wrapping you in this white, loving energy. Feel it moving down your torso, wrapping you in this beautiful white blanket of love. Feel it reaching around your legs, your calves, your feet. Now move up to the crown of your head. Imagine your head resting gently on this white pillow of loving energy, surrounding your entire body. You're completely safe, completely protected, completely loved. Now from your heart center, imagine sending this loving energy to someone that you love. It can be a child, a spouse, or anyone or thing that you love, even a pet. And feel the love you have for them, and send your love as it overflows from your heart. Send them your wishes for them. Let them be safe. Let them be happy. Let them be loved. And feel them wrapped in your blanket of light and love. And now, if you'd like, imagine someone you don't know very well. Maybe a neighbor or a shopkeeper. Send them your light and love. Feel this infinite love as it expands from your heart center and wraps them in safety and warmth, in love and light. Feel your endless supply of this love and extend it to them. And now, if you can, imagine someone you're having a difficult time with. Imagine that they want what you want. They wish to be happy. They wish to feel love. See if you can extend your love to them. Know that if they're happy and loved, maybe they'll be easier to get along with. Feel them wrapped in your endless supply of love and light. And now, feeling back to your heart center, notice how you feel. Notice how this light and love feels in your body. Gently bringing awareness back to your body. Begin to deepen your breath, bringing small movements to your fingers and your toes. And when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes.